Greetings, YouTube. I've been involved for the last couple of days in a conversation on a gaming message board about the terms crunch and fluff and their use in modern games and amongst modern gamers to describe different types of role-playing games. Now, I use the terms all the time. I've used them many times in the reviews I've done here. And for me, they really aren't a value judgment. They're descriptive. For me, crunch means the rules mechanics. It means the things that drive the role-playing game itself, the engine. Whereas fluff is everything isn't the engine. Now, I freely admit that I like a lot of crunch in my products with only a smattering of fluff. I like enough fluff to tie things together so that they have a context, so that they make sense. I don't like page after page of descriptive paragraphs. As an example, I recently reviewed Evernight and Sundered Skies for the Savage Worlds role-playing game. And for me, it was a perfect example of the two extremes. Evernight, a really focused adventure, basically one mega adventure. It's a product that's all tied into one adventure, as opposed to Sundered Skies, which is very much of a sandbox environment, wherein they give you enough context to understand what's going on, the unique abilities and unique setting that the game is placed in, and then they walk away. They just present it to you and then say, okay, go play. And that's the level I like. I like that much fluff. Whereas Evernight, a whole lot of fluff. It could have been great, but I didn't want to read it. You know, there are a lot of people out there that think Evernight's a great game, and they could be correct. But it's not a model that I have any interest in. So, as far as I'm concerned, it's a product that's a failure because I don't want to read it. I don't want to engage in it. I don't want to use it. Even though the Savage World system is great, and the game did successfully present the player with a translation of the core D&D races from like 3.5. If you're one of those, that product has them. But some people do use the terms crunch and fluff as value judgments. That crunch is the good stuff and fluff is the bad stuff. There are people who think that the terms are ridiculous. Some people say that they mean system and setting. Crunch is system, fluff is setting. And that those are the terms you should use. I don't know when I picked up the terms crunch and fluff. I don't know how long I've been using them. They just seem to have been floating around for quite a while. But every time I use them, the people I'm communicating with understand what I'm saying. So, in that regard, they're successful terms. I'll give you an example. If you fight with two weapons, and if you refer to that style of fighting with two weapons as Florentine, many people will know what you're talking about. Within the SCA, the Society for Creative Anachronism, and within the role-playing environment, Florentine is a common term referring to a person that fights with a weapon in either hand. It is not the correct technical term. The correct technical term is it's Spanish, and I don't remember what it is. I can never remember it. Sometimes Spanish phrases just slip through my head. I have a hard time remembering them. But if I use the word Florentine and the people around me understand it, bingo! I've communicated. Even if I'm not using the technical term that should be used. There are people who are upset about this, and I can understand that. I'm a weapons geek, and I get annoyed sometimes when people use terms incorrectly or don't use the proper term. So we all have our ballywicks. We all have our buttons that get pushed. For me, it's weapons. For other people, it's terms in games. So, a question for any of the role players out there watching this video. What do the terms crunch and fluff mean to you? Do you use them? Do you think they're appropriate? Do you think they're inappropriate? Do you think that they foster productive communication? Or do they hinder productive communication? What is your take on the terms crunch and fluff?